right, here we go. Question number 18 from our Precalculus homework number 12 in MyLab Math. They have given us a system of 3 equations with 3 unknowns, and they want us to solve this system using Cramer's rule. And so looking ahead, we can see the first thing we're going to have to do is fill in the determinants into the formulas for Cramer's rule. And then for part 2, we will give the solution. So let's go to the scratch work and see how to set this up. Okay, so over here in our scratch work, just a quick review of Cramer's rule. If you want to find the value of x, that's going to be d sub x over d. The solution for y is d sub y over d. And the solution for z is d sub z over d. We are going to have to find 4 determinants. We've got regular d. Well, I call it regular d. Every denominator has that determinant. And then in the numerator, d sub x, d sub y, and d sub z, those are 3 different determinants. So altogether, 4 determinants are needed. And since this is a system of 3 equations and 3 unknowns, all 4 of those determinants are going to be 3 by 3 determinants. And if you watch my video on how to calculate a 3 by 3 determinant, you're going to know that there's not only a shortcut manually, but there is also a technique electronically on the Casio ClassWiz. So let's go ahead and set up our fractions for our first answer in MyLab Math. Regular d, I'm going to go ahead and do the denominator first. That is the determinant of the coefficients of the variables. So the x coefficients are 1, 1, negative 4. The y coefficients, 4, negative 4, 4. And the z's, negative 1, 1, negative 3. And that one determinant takes care of 3 of the blanks in our MyLab Math, because that will satisfy all 3 denominators. Next, our 3 by 3 determinant for d sub x, if you don't recall what that says that we're going to replace the x coefficients with the constants. So in the first column, we're going to put 1, negative 3, and 4, because the x's get replaced with the constants. And then the other 2 columns are going to be the coefficients of the variables. So 4, negative 4, 4, negative 1, 1, negative 3. If you notice, you can simply copy and paste those 2 columns from regular d into d sub x. Next, d sub y says now we're going to replace the y's with the constants. And we're going to go back to using the x coefficients for the first column. 1, 1, negative 4. The y's get replaced with the constants. And the z's, we can simply copy and paste those back in. So here the x and z columns remain, but the y's get replaced with the constants. You're going to get tired of hearing me say that, but I like to repeat things to make it sink in. And then finally, d sub z, yep, you guessed it, we're going to replace the z's with the constants. So 1, negative 3, 4, replacing the z's with the constants, and then the x's and y's return. 1, 1, negative 4 from the x's, 4, negative 4, 4 from the y's. And this is now the setup to satisfy the first part of our MyLab Math problem. All right, here we go. Back in our MyLab Math, we're going to set up our fractions. And for the first numerator for x, that was d sub x over d. So that is a matrix. We're going to click on our determinant. And it is a 3 by 3. We're going to have to increase those to 3's. And you can see that's going to take up a lot of room, and it's going to take up a lot of time really to input all those numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set this up, and I'll get back with you in a second to show you what I entered. Okay, I'm back prematurely to show you that there is a shortcut that you might like to know about. What I did here is I entered regular D in the denominator, and what I realized is you can highlight that and click Control C to copy, and then Control V, and you can copy and paste, and you don't have to input those manually. Once you do one of them, you can just copy and paste into the other denominators. Now, what I think might be faster also is to go ahead and paste those into the numerator, and then all you have to do for d sub x, d sub y, and d sub z is change 3 numbers instead of having to input all 9 numbers again. And so I'm going to edit those, and I'll be back in a second. All right, I'm back, and I edited the 3 numerator determinants so that d sub x has the x's replaced with the constants, d sub y, y's replaced with the constants, d sub z, z's replaced with the constants. This should be identical to what we had in our scratch work, and it is correct. Nice. And so now to find the solution, we would need to calculate 1, 2, 3, 4 3 by 3 determinants. And I've already covered that in a previous video, how to do that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a shortcut and use my calculator. Actually, doing 4 3 by 3 determinants in the Casio, that even is going to take a while. So I think I'm going to let you in on another secret about the Casio ClassWiz, just to show you that there is a quick and easy way to solve this system and to get the solution. That means we're going to go to the menu, we're going to go down twice and over to the equation/function option and select. Now this is a system of linear equations that we are solving. So we want to select number 1, simultaneous means system of equations. There are 3 variables, and then I can simply input the coefficients of each equation, and the ClassWiz is going to solve that for me. So here we go. 1, enter. 4, enter, or equals. -1 equals, and the constant 1 equals. And then you just rinse and repeat for the second equation, inputting all the coefficients, including the constant, and then one more time for the last equation. I might mention that if you miss even one sign, it will result in instant death, like I almost did there for the 3. All right, so now that everything's input, if I hit equals one more time, it's going to tell me the answer for x. Hitting equals gives me the answer for y. And equals again, answer for z. And if you want, you can scroll back up using the keypad to get those answers. So our solution should be -1, 3/4, and 1. Inputting that to see if we're right. -1, 3/4, and 1. Fingers crossed. Oh, and we're done. Again, that is an alternate method to get the solution. Remember, if you're taking an exam, you're going to need to show your scratch work. I'll expect to see the technique that I taught, finding a 3 by 3 determinant. All of that scratch work is going to be necessary to prove that you know what you're doing. The calculator simply gives you an option to check your scratch work. A quick and easy way to check your scratch work. So if you have any questions or comments about anything covered in this video, please feel free to leave those in the comment section below, or you can text me. And thanks for watching.